if your feet are constantly freezing or you feel a nagging pins and needles numbness that just won't go away, stop what you are doing right now because your body is sending you a critical warning sign about your survival. Most people believe that struggling to walk as far as they used to or dealing with heavy, aching legs is simply an inevitable part of getting older. We have been told for years to just accept these discomforts as a natural birthday tax. But I am here to tell you that this is a dangerous myth that could cost you your independence. Those tingles, cold toes, and muscle cramps are not just signs of age. They are a loud, urgent signal that your vital pathways, the very pipes responsible for delivering life-giving oxygen and nourishment to your extremities, are becoming dangerously narrow, stiff, and blocked. To understand what is happening inside you, think of your arteries like a supple garden hose. When you are young, that hose is stretchy and the water flows with incredible power. But over decades, the inner lining gets damaged by stress, high blood sugar, or blood pressure. Your body tries to fix these tiny injuries by rushing in patching materials like fats and calcium. These patches build up layer after layer, turning your once wide and elastic hose into a narrow, rigid, and rough pipe. This is the core problem. When your blood flow slows down, your muscles starve for oxygen, leading directly to the pain and coldness you feel every day. But here is the breakthrough. You do not have to just passively endure this decline. Based on over 20 years of clinical experience helping seniors reclaim their vitality, I have seen that your body has an amazing built-in ability to heal even after decades of wear and tear. Today, we are shifting your mindset from passive endurance to active intervention. You are about to discover a precise nutritional blueprint built around 5 everyday foods that act like a natural cleansing force for your circulation. We are going to target the root cause and restore that smooth, powerful flow you need for an energetic life. You deserve to move freely again, and it starts with the very next thing you put on your plate. So I want you to really sit with me for a second and think about this. Have you ever gone out to your garden in the spring, grabbed that old green hose that has been sitting in the sun for years, and noticed how it feels? It is stiff, right? It has those permanent kinks, and when you turn the water on, it barely trickles out because the inside is just worn out. Well, it is kind of a heavy thought, but that is exactly what is happening inside our bodies. When we are young, our arteries are like a brand new hose. They are stretchy, smooth, and they can expand or contract whenever they need to. But then life happens. Decades of dealing with little spikes in blood sugar, feeling stressed out more often than we should, or even just having slightly high blood pressure, it all adds up. I was thinking about this the other day, and it is actually a bit heartbreaking if you look at it from a certain perspective. Your body is incredible. It is always trying to protect you. When those tiny bits of damage happen to your artery walls, your body does not just give up. It rushes in what I call patching materials. It sends in fats and calcium to try and fix the leak, so to speak. But here is the catch, and it is a big one. Over 30, 40, or 50 years, these patches start to stack up. Layer after layer, it is this silent, slow process of irritation and repair. Before you know it, that wide, flexible pathway is turned into a narrow, rigid pipe. Wait, let that sink in for a moment. This is why you feel that heaviness. When those pipes get narrow, your muscles are quite literally starving for oxygen. They are crying out for fuel, but the delivery truck just cannot get through the traffic jam. That is the root of the pain and that dead feeling in your feet. It is not that you are just broken. It is just that your internal plumbing has become stiff and clogged. But the good news is, once we understand this mechanism, we can finally stop fighting the symptoms and start helping the body clear the path. So if the problem is these stiff, narrow pipes, how do we actually get them to relax? I mean, you cannot exactly reach in there with a tool and fix it, right? Well, there is this tiny, almost magical molecule called nitric oxide. Scientists just call it NO. I like to think of it as the ultimate internal repairman. Its only job is to tell your artery walls to just breathe, to let go, to soften and widen out so the blood can finally move freely again. Now, here is where it gets interesting and maybe a little controversial for some of you. The absolute best way to trigger this miracle molecule is through beets. Yes, those earthy red roots, I know. I used to think they tasted like dirt too. But listen to how this works because it completely changed the way I look at the grocery store. Beets are packed with these things called dietary nitrates. When you eat them, the tiny, healthy bacteria living right on your tongue and in your gut start working for you immediately. They convert those nitrates into nitrites. Then, as that hits your bloodstream, your body creates a massive surge of nitric oxide exactly where you need it most, like in your cold feet or those heavy, aching legs. Think about it like this. It is like finally turning the dial on a rusty faucet. The pipes open up, the pressure drops, and suddenly that warm, life-giving blood is rushing back to your toes. I have seen folks go from barely being able to walk to the driveway to feeling like they have a brand new set of legs. It is not magic. It is just giving your body the specific tool it needs to heal itself. It is like a science-backed internal medicine that has been hiding in plain sight. Honestly, it is pretty amazing when you think about it. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Can I really just eat beets every day? Well, maybe not. But the good news is that beets are just the team captain. There are 4 other heavy hitters that I think are just as cool, and they work together in this really beautiful, synergistic way. Take garlic, for instance. I absolutely love cooking with it, but I never truly realized that the very thing that makes it smell so strong, allicin, is actually helping your blood stay smooth. It is kind of like a natural, gentle way to make sure those little blood particles do not get all sticky and clumped together. It keeps things moving without the friction. It is just common sense when you think about it. And then we have to talk about fatty fish like salmon or even sardines. I know sardines are a bit of an acquired taste, but those omega-3s are literal building blocks. If our arteries are like those garden hoses we talked about earlier, then omega-3s are what keep the rubber from getting brittle and cracking. They make your vessel walls resilient and flexible again. It is like you are giving your body the raw materials to rebuild its own plumbing. I find that thought really empowering. I also have a bit of a sweet tooth, so dark berries are my favorite part of this whole plan. Blueberries and blackberries have these things called anthocyanins. Just think of them as a tiny, invisible shield. They coat the delicate inner lining of your pipes, so those sticky fats have a much harder time grabbing hold. Finally, there is turmeric. That bright yellow spice is like a fire extinguisher. It cools down that systemic inflammation, which, to be honest, is the real engine behind all that plaque buildup. When you use all of these together, it is just incredible. You are not just fixing one thing. You are creating this whole environment where your body can finally start to manage those old blockages and prevent new ones from even starting. It really makes you realize how much power we have right in our own kitchens. Now, I am a big believer in food first. I always have been. There is just something so grounding about healing yourself with what you put on your plate. But let us be real for a second. Sometimes when you are dealing with that heavy, tired feeling every single day, you just want to hit the fast forward button. You want to feel that relief a little bit sooner rather than later. That is why I want to talk about what I call the accelerators. These are not replacements for those amazing foods we just discussed, but they act like a support crew to speed things up. Think about magnesium first. I like to call it the quiet hero of the mineral world. You know how those tiny muscle fibers in your artery walls can get all tensed up and tight? Well, magnesium is like a long, deep exhale for your blood vessels. It helps them stay relaxed and soft. But here is the part that I think is really clever. It helps your body manage calcium. We definitely do not want that calcium hardening inside our pipes, making them all crunchy and brittle. Magnesium helps keep that calcium where it belongs so your arteries stay as supple as possible. Then there is L-arginine. Do you remember that nitric oxide molecule we talked about? The one that tells your pipes to widen? Well, L-arginine is like giving the factory a huge shipment of raw materials. It is a direct building block. If your system is struggling to produce enough flow, this is like adding an extra shift at the warehouse to keep those vessels wide open and the blood moving through. I want to pause for a moment here and speak directly to those of you who are dealing with that constant burning or that sharp shooting pain in your feet. I know how exhausting that can be. It is usually because the tiny, tiny blood vessels that feed your nerves are starving. They are literally gasping for air. This is where alpha lipoic acid, or ALA, comes in. I think of ALA as a specialist for the micropipes. It is a powerful antioxidant that helps repair those delicate nerves by bringing the circulation right to their doorstep. It addresses the big pipes and the tiny nerves at the exact same time. It is like finally fixing the electricity in the house after you have already fixed the plumbing. It just feels right when everything starts working together again. Now, I want to share something that really blew my mind when I first started looking into this. We always think about the heart doing all the heavy lifting, right? Like it is this big, powerful engine. And it is, but the heart is really only the boss of the trip down to your toes. The return trip, that is the hard part. Just think about it for a second. Your blood has to travel all the way back up from your feet, fighting against gravity every single inch of the way. It is like trying to push water up a steep hill. This is where your secret weapon comes in. It is called the venous muscle pump. I like to think of your calf muscles as your second heart. They are like a manual squeeze. Every time you take a step, or even just flex your ankle while you are sitting, those muscles physically squeeze the deep veins in your legs. It is like squeezing a sponge to push the water out. That action is what actually drives the blood back up toward your heart. But here's the catch. If you spend hours sitting in a chair, driving, or just watching your favorite show, that pump is basically turned off. The blood just sits there, it stagnates. That is exactly why your ankles get puffy and your legs start to feel like lead weights. So, here is a simple vow I want you to make with me today. Every 45 minutes, just stand up. Move around for 60 seconds. It does not have to be a workout. If you cannot stand, that is okay too. Just pump your feet up and down like you are hitting a gas pedal. 10 times every hour is enough to wake that pump up and get things moving. And if you want a real game changer, just lie down and put your feet up, above the level of your heart. Let gravity do the hard work for once. I usually do this for about 20 minutes while I am winding down with a book. It feels incredible to just let that pressure drain away. It is such a simple, zero-cost strategy, but man, your legs will thank you for it. Now, let us take a deep breath for a second. We have talked about the amazing foods to add and those simple movements to wake up your legs, but I have to be honest with you. There are two silent saboteurs that might be undoing all your hard work without you even realizing it. I like to think of them as the invisible anchors, holding back your progress. The first one is something so simple, we often overlook it. Dehydration. Think about your blood for a moment. It is not just some thick liquid. Over half of it is actually water in the form of plasma. I remember when I first realized this, it was like a light bulb went off. If you are not drinking enough pure water, your blood literally becomes denser. It gets stickier. It is like trying to pump thick, heavy molasses through those tiny pipes instead of smooth, flowing water. When your blood is that thick, your heart has to work twice as hard, and the risk of those little clumps turning into blockages goes way up. It is a scary thought, right? But the fix is so easy. Just 6 to 8 glasses of plain water a day can change the entire consistency of your life force. Wait, let me check in with you on the second one, because this is a big one for all of us. Processed salt. I love a seasoned meal as much as anyone, but that hidden salt in processed foods, It is a real troublemaker. It forces your body to hold on to water like a heavy sponge. Suddenly, the total volume of blood in your system increases, and your heart has to push all that extra weight through those same narrow arteries. That creates a massive, unnatural pressure. And remember what we said about pressure? It causes irritation, which leads to more patching and more clogs. I honestly think the best way forward is to just get back to basics. Swap that salt shaker for the rich, vibrant flavors of herbs. Use that turmeric we talked about earlier for flavor. It is a win-win. You get the taste you love without the pressure that hurts your system. It is all about making those small, mindful choices that add up to a huge difference in how you feel when you wake up in the morning. So, we have covered a lot of ground today, haven't we? From those stiff garden hoses to the miracle of nitric oxide. But I was thinking, all this information is only as good as the action we take with it. I want to help you weave everything we have talked about into a simple, beautiful routine that feels like a gift to your body, not a chore. Let us imagine your new daily rhythm. It starts the moment you wake up. Before you even reach for your coffee, I want you to drink 2 large glasses of pure water. Remember, we are thinning out that blood right from the start. This is also the perfect time for your magnesium and that alpha-lipoic acid to help those nerves wake up. For breakfast, throw a handful of those deep purple berries into your bowl. It is like putting on a protective shield before you even start your day. Then, as you go about your morning, remember our vow. Every 45 minutes, just stand up or pump those ankles. Keep that second heart in your calves working for you. When lunch and dinner roll around, this is where you bring in the heavy hitters. Maybe some roasted beets or a glass of juice for that nitric oxide surge. Use plenty of garlic and turmeric with a pinch of black pepper. It is not just cooking, it is internal maintenance. And if you can, get some of those flexible omega-3s from a nice piece of fish. As the sun sets and you are winding down, take just 5 minutes for that deep belly breathing. Feel that suction effect helping your heart. Then, end your day by putting your feet up, literally. Let gravity drain away the stress of the day for 20 minutes while you relax. I want to leave you with a thought that I hold very close to my heart. You are not destined for a future of pain and fading mobility. That is a lie we have been told for too long. Your body is an incredible living system that is constantly striving to heal and find balance, no matter how many decades of wear and tear you have been through. It just needs the right tools. You have the power right now to stop the decline and even reverse it. You have the right to feel energetic and move freely again. I truly believe that. I would love to hear from you. Which of the 5 foods we talked about, beets, garlic, fish, berries, or turmeric, are you going to start with first? Just leave a quick comment below. I read them all, and I love seeing which step you are taking. And if this chat helped you feel a bit more hopeful today, I would be so honored if you subscribed so we can keep this journey going together. Share this with someone you care about who might be struggling too. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep that flow moving.